Stay better one bite at a time. Hey, look, if you are new to my show, I come every You are live with Dr. Chapa. Good morning, good day, wherever you're tuning in from. I'm excited that you're on the Dr. Chapa Wellness Show. Why? Because every week I like to teach people how to live better, be better, stay better, one bite at a time. Hey, look, if you are new to my show, I come every week with a new topic, a new idea to teach you that life is in your hands. Your health is yours to steward. It's your life, it's your health, it's your choice. And tonight we're going to be talking about, common misconception that diagnoses are a death sentence. So in this case tonight, we're talking about MS. Multiple sclerosis is not a death sentence. You have options, you have resources, and I'm excited to share with you a little bit about what the Western philosophies believe and what can't be done for you, but what alternative medicine and functional medicine and lifestyle choices and practices can give you in the form of relief. So without further ado, guys, if you know somebody that is suffering neurological conditions of all types, of any diagnosis of any kind, the reality is it's your life, your health, your choice. And that is the simple message. It's your life, your health, your choice. And by Jehovah Jireh's provision, by Jehovah Rapha's healing power, you can be healed. And I just want people to know that God wants you to master the schemes of the devil and to fight back. Knowledge is power. Supernatural revelation, knowledge and power. Ephesians chapter 1, 15 to the end of the chapter talks about how we should be praying for this. And we have to do our part. You see, what causes diseases is oftentimes things that we do to ourselves day in and day out, or we have a misunderstanding because it's been told to me this week 10 times already that what people are up against is information overload. And I want to give people better resources and better tools, and so that they are feeling more alive, more equipped to go out into the world that they live in, thrive in that world, and not suffer needlessly with diagnoses and diseases. So that's why I come to you guys live each and every week, because I believe that all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition drives it all. So tonight we're talking about multiple sclerosis, understanding the cause, managing the impact, and thriving any way you can. This is options for you. This is a tool for you. And again, my very first case of multiple sclerosis that ever I saw was a student in clinical practice. I really did not know anything at all on how to help this person. All I got was an MRI diagnostic report from the radiology imaging study of her brain that said she had holes in her brain. Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that holes in your brain can't be a good thing. And it was really sad. She was chronically fatigued. She gained 50 pounds. Her body was chronically ill. She was absolutely inflamed to no end. And her body was not managing the diagnosis. Her brain was on fire, if you will. And unfortunately, no one knew how to help her. Frankly, neither did I. I was a student, for crying out loud. She was one of my classmates. And I look back on that thinking MS was a permanent disease, thinking that MS, there was nothing that could be done to help serve the patient better. And then I, live in Houston, Texas. There's a ride every year called the MS 150, where they literally have a fundraiser for finding solutions, cures, if you will, in modern medicine to mitigate some of the suffering that these poor people are dealing with. This is a very debilitating neurological disorder. So it is a real thing. It is something too that we don't want to take lightly. You don't want to take any diagnosis lightly, but at the end of the day, we know that we have to choose differently our life if we're going to see our lives be impacted for the better. You can't just sit idly. You can't just sit on the sidelines when you've been diagnosed with anything. That's just giving in. The great Bruce Wayne Butler quote, Bruce, why do we fall? So we can get back up again. In this case, your genes didn't cause you to have multiple sclerosis. Lifestyle choices did. Metal toxicity, chemical toxicity, parasites, all this stuff are major causes of what multiple sclerosis is. But what is multiple sclerosis? It's a chronic autoimmune disorder where the body's literally attacking and eating at the brain. This is not good. And I don't know if I actually fully agree with that term. However, I will talk to that later. This is just what the modern science believes, that the brain is attacking itself. The immune system is mistakenly attacking the myelin sheaths. Now, I don't disagree with that. I believe that when the body is under attack, it's going to go after whatever's attacking it. It just so happens the pathogens that the brain and nervous system is dealing with is on neural axons and or dendrites, or these little finger-like projections that you see, the synaptic activity that's happening in the center picture. So these myelin nerve protectors, if you will, are then withered away, and then there's basically raw, nerve tissue that is vulnerable to the elements. What is multiple sclerosis? It's a disorder that affects the brain, the spinal cord, your optic nerves, all aspects of neural energy. So MS disrupts how your brain talks to your body. As you can imagine, your brain, it's your quarterback. So if your quarterback is kicking and firing on all 8 cylinders, guess what? So are you. If your brain, however, is getting kicked and it's not firing on all 8 cylinders, neither will you fire on all 8 cylinders. And frankly, you'll suffer, and you'll suffer a lot, because there's no answers in modern medicine that supports what I'm going to be teaching you tonight and what we've seen in clinical practice. So unfortunately, I have to say that my first encounter with multiple sclerosis at the grassroots level, the boots level, the ground level, where I didn't know anything, I had no answers. And that's very sad. I really thought that this was a disorder of sad realities. And then I went to a seminar. The idea of this seminar was about root cause medicine, how to find the underlying issues that prevent the body from developing into disorder. Instead, finding the root cause is finding what is causing the body to get off track. Root cause cellular health is about replenishing vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids, deburdening the body of any metal, chemical, or pathogenic burden, and then rebuilding those cells in cellular communication, where the brain now becomes a good, strong quarterback that's firing all 8 cylinders, that knows where his players are on the field and knows how to communicate to the immune system, that knows how to downregulate inflammation when it gets out of hand, that knows how to respect the genetic blueprint and express the phenotypical blueprint of our body. Okay? The environmental triggers are managed way better. But we know vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids are a major insult to developing into a chronic immune or chronic neural or a chronic autoimmune disorder. So in this case, we would definitely be looking at your vitamin mineral status. We'd be definitely looking at infectious burdens such as parasites. So, I know, worms. Do you know what caterpillars do, by the way, to leaves in your tomato garden? Somebody put it in the comments. It eats holes. That's right. It eats holes in the leaves. And when MRIs are done of the brain for multiple sclerosis, do you know what it looks like? It looks like holes, like a caterpillar, aka a parasite, have been gnawing away at neural tissue. Do you realize this is an absolute plausible reason that MS is being diagnosed, seen, flared up, and insulting people's bodies regularly? Now, the body goes through a lot of buffering systems to protect itself from these pathogenic insulters. However, if it gets across the blood-brain barrier, it's no holds barred. And why wouldn't a parasite go after the brain? Why wouldn't it go after digestion? Because if it can slow down brain activity through digestion, through constipation, win for the parasite team and ongoing fuel sources for the parasite team. Nothing better than having rotten tissue in the gut lining for the parasites to feast on. Then you block and disrupt your neural activation centers. You disrupt B vitamin ATP production sites, and now the brain is just ill-equipped to fight the good fight, and the body just begins to wither away at the blood-brain barrier. The parasites come in, and they got a whole new haven that they can work off of and eat against. Oh my gosh, it's so terrifying, really. So I'm not saying that every case of MS is a parasite, although I'm definitely going to tell you, if you have MS, you more than likely have parasites. That I would be certain of. And it's just a matter of time before we have to deal with it. Now, I know that's a big claim, and I'm not really trying to claim anything. I'm just telling you what my practice has shown me, because my first year in practice, I had this case come in. Oh, I just remember like it was yesterday. She had one goal, guys. One, her goal was to sew needle and thread again. You see, she had arthritis so bad, they diagnosed her with rheumatoid arthritis. She had chronic fatigue so bad, they diagnosed her with fibromyalgia. She had classic MRI proven resulted study that showed multiple sclerosis was indeed the diagnosis. She lived with migraine headaches 4 days a week. Most of the time, they lasted all week long. She was miserable. She was overweight, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. She had every blood marker off the chain and dysregulated every which way to Sunday. She had her appendix removed, her gallbladder removed. I mean, I don't recall specifically, but she probably even had her spleen removed. I mean, this poor lady was literally mutilated by the ways of the world. And again, this is my first year in practice, so this is 21 years ago. So much so that my mentors and friends, minus one, basically said this is medical wreckage. Don't even get your hands involved. It's going to be a train wreck, a catastrophe. But I had one mentor. Don't you love the one mentor that just is optimistic, sees a silver lining always and forever and never wavers? You see, that makes me think of Hebrews 10:23. Let us hold fast our confession of faith without wavering, for the God who has promised is faithful. That's why his name is Jehovah Rapha, the Lord our healer. Jehovah Nisi, the Lord our banner. We wave a different flag. And I respect modern medicine, I really do, except that they oftentimes throw in the towel too early and they don't exhaust all aspects of resourcing, how to restore the body back to ideal health. That's just the facts, Jack. Hey, it's not my fault they do it that way. They don't have any nutritional training. All they have is pharmacy training. I remember taking pharmacy classes in school, and I remember, shoot, this is so complex and convoluted, and the doctor that was teaching said, as a pharmacist, there's no way to predict the amount of side effects or drug interactions that are occurring in a case where more than 3 medications are on board. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And this lady, get this, okay? Not only did she have all those symptoms I just threw out to you, she also lived with urinary tract infections. She lived with kidney infections. She lived with yeast infections. She lived on antibiotics. She was on 28 medications. Not 1, not 10. She was on 28 medications. And I know you're probably thinking, Dr. Chapa, you are blowing smoke right now. And I know, I get it. Don't believe it either. I'm telling you, every one of my friends, minus one in the mentoring world, told me this is medical wreckage. Do not get involved. So MS is not random. It is a perfect storm of triggers. And I'm pretty sure I just laid out every symptom you can imagine a person would go through that would probably have a dysfunctional neurological system that would classify in chronic UTIs, chronic yeast infections, chronic antibiotics, chronic steroids, chronic migraine meds, blood pressure meds, cholesterol meds, inflammation meds, joint reduction inflammation meds, you name it, she had it, 28 medications. It was actually 28 and a half medications if you have to know. However, go back to what I said. What did she want? You know, it's not about getting off the blood pressure medication. It's not about getting MS diagnosis under control. She wanted to sew again, needle and thread. And I said, listen, I'm going to call it KS, MSKS. And I said, KS, are you telling me that if I can help you sew with needle and thread again, you'll be like, this is a successful case? And you know what she told me? She said, absolutely. And 40 days she was sewing again. 40 days. Within 6 months, she was on 9 medications. She was hiking in New Hampshire with her family and grandkids. 9 medications, guys. She, by the end of 15 months, was, well, KS, it appears that we misdiagnosed you. You don't have MS. But yet she had medical MRI studies to show MS in one picture and no MS in another. And the way we did it was through root cause, functional medicine, looking at people's blood work, showing people what happens in the body when inflammation is left unchecked. It damages the nerve sheaths. It causes scar tissue or lesions to form, and it causes the body to signal very poorly and cause it to, frankly, even stop signaling in a lot of ways, resulting in loss of control, sensations, coordination. The brain just begins to deteriorate and become a wreck, a medical wreckage, if you will. And yes, the symptoms are real with these people that are suffering with this diagnoses. Extreme fatigue, brain fog, vision problems, numbness and tingling, weakness and poor coordination. I don't think that these symptoms are just related to multiple sclerosis. I've always wanted to share this story because KS really did teach me quite a bit. And my mentor taught me quite a bit. He taught me that you listen to your patients and you stop giving in to the diagnosis identity crisis that medicine has given into giving out to these patients. You get involved by stepping in with them, get into their boat, and you start supporting the basic building blocks of life. That's vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids. You decrease the inflammatory burdens of food. You get them off the 4 deadly food additives. You start showing them that moving and grooving is easy. They can do simply things I do in the office called pass the plates, row the canoe, pick the grapes. Movement patterns are good. If you don't move, you don't groove. If you don't flush and detox, your liver can't keep up, your kidneys can't keep up. Your body wants to cleanse the bowel, and you will see all these symptoms begin to deteriorate. Not your brain deteriorating in the form of out of control, unchecked symptoms, over-medicated patients that are constantly being more contaminated with drugs than they are being served to get their symptoms under control. Instead, root cause cellular medicine is transformational. It's very exciting, and I get excited about it because symptoms can come and go or progressively worsen if unchecked, but they can also get better. And that is what we're after. So here's the different types of MS that people are dealing with. Relapsing, remitting types of MS, where they live with it, flares up. They flare up quite frequently. I have this one patient study that's seen me in the last few years that is this patient. She would be the one that flares up, recovers, flares up, recovers. I have had some that were the secondary progressive, the gradual worsening, where they just are almost, you can't even go upstairs anymore. They have to get the ladder elevator thing, or have an elevator installed, or live on the first floor. And these are really sad because these people are young. Some of these folks are under 40 years old. This is not like an elderly disorder. And so they still have kids. They're still supposed to go to baseball games and enjoy date night with their hubbies or wives. And this is serious, man. Primary progressive MS left unchecked, steady decline. That's where KS was. And so most cases begin with a relapsing, remitting, and they just watch it because they truly don't have a good answer for what causes disease, much less an answer for how to reverse or slow down the aging process or the progression of these diagnoses. Hey, quiet. Sorry about that. I got excited. He got excited. I got excited. Talking about MS. So hopefully y'all didn't cause any of your adrenal glands to get all whacked out. I was on a roll. Diagnosis is they look at MRI scans, neurological testing, and spinal fluid analysis, looking for patterns, not necessarily a single test, because these patients oftentimes have, like we showed in the last couple slides, where they have multiple symptom pattern disruption. That's what we're trying to address. And standard medical treatment basically says there's no cure, there's no treatment that really helps. It's really just mitigating the symptoms, slowing the progress, managing their future in this state. And that is so sad because it's disease modifying therapies. It's steroid flare-up control. It's rehab upon rehab. And look, I'm not saying they don't need therapy. I'm not saying they don't need support. I'm not saying that. I'm just suggesting that there's still yet a better way. And so that's what I want people to grab hold of. It's your life, your health, your choice. I've been teaching that for years. Lifestyle plays the role that you get to participate in. And we find solutions to get your inflammation under control. We find solutions to regularly decrease the therapy flare-up and get the body moving and grooving in, not just in physicality, although that's a nice win. Like I said, KS made it 28 medications down to 9, plus hiking in New Hampshire with her family. How cool is that? Hiking! I think it's still cool. I get excited. Regular movement and therapy is also lymphatic washing, making sure the lymphatics are moving like they're supposed to. We could do that simply through dry brushing, a vibration plate. We could do that through a sway machine. We could do that through multiple avenues to get the lymphatics to move and groove, especially in the beginning. We have our detox foot baths where we can cleanse that trash out of your lymphatics. You see, The flare-ups often are regulated by your stress patterns. Most of these patients are so inflamed, they're so stressed out that they're living on what we call the edge of flare-up, the edge of symptom, exacerbation. If they miss or get into a bad meal, if they have a rough night of sleep, if they expose themselves to some aspect of chemicals, maybe they go down the perfume aisle, maybe they're around somebody that smokes, maybe they had a glass of wine at a celebration. You can't control everything, but you have to recognize that your choices in life are regulating whether or not you're going to have a diagnosis or you're going to get rid of a diagnosis and or have a better life on the backside of a diagnosis. Because look, we can all find ourselves in a pickle, but all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition drives it all. If you can grab hold of that truth and that real truth that it is your life, your health, your choice, and that all life starts and stops at the cellular level and nutrition drives it all, you would be hard-pressed to find a diagnosis that couldn't be reversed, because anything your body can develop, it can undevelop. Now I know somebody might come out and say, that, well, what if you're born with such and such a disorder? Like if you had, a chromosomal disruption, you can't cure that. Well, one, Jesus can, but in my world, you're right, maybe I can't control all aspects of gene code. However, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what 95% of the population is dealing with is something that they developed later in life. That's what, you got type 1 diabetes, or they call it juvenile onset, right? Well, what about type 2? That's late onset. What about type 1.5? That's 19 years old to 25 years old. What about type 3? That's Alzheimer's. Ooh, baby, you kidding me? You're telling me Alzheimer's is a diabetes of the brain? I am indeed. And so whatever the diagnosis that is being placed upon you, one, reject it. Cancel, sweep it away. It's just a name. It has to bow to the name of Jesus, right? If you don't get your speaking right, and I'm guilty of this too, we have to be mindful of how we talk. Our self-talk is everything. And with the information we get, oftentimes when we don't have a 1,000+ patient database to call our laboratory and to work on patients regularly and see miracle upon miracle upon miracle, it's hard to pull the hope card, faith card. But you have to, even if defeat is on all four corners, remain in the game with the power of good phraseology. How you speak to yourself, how you speak to your cells, because every tissue, cell, organ, gland in your body hears you day in and day out. So lifestyle plays a big role. Mindset plays a huge role in regulating these issues. Of course, if you're not sleeping right, it doesn't matter what disorder you have, it's going to get worse. Sleep is paramount in recovery and development and detoxification and restoration for your nervous system to heal and win the war on disease. We want you thriving, not just surviving. I say that quite a bit. And I've seen enough cases where they were given up on, they were over-medicated, shut down, wheelchair bound, living on antibiotics, living on steroids, living on different painkillers, only left to just survive, and not quality survival. Many people live purpose-driven, active lives that are under good quality care. Mindset, habits, long-term impact, all are the answer to transformational medicine. Your condition is real, and I'm not, again, doubting whether or not you have a real diagnosis of MS. What I'm suggesting is that no one's going in alongside you and teaching you when to detox, how to detox, what to supplement, when to supplement. The time of day matters. The night cycle matters. If you don't get your sleep right, if you don't supplement right at night, you won't get a good deep sleep for recovery and restoration and repair. You won't get detoxification to happen, and your body's going to be more inflamed in the morning than when you went to bed, which puts you at a deficit. Then if you start your day with processed food, sugars, and just today had a kid come in, and I'm just shocked. You can't live on bars. You can't live on fruit. You can't live on fruit squeezes. You can't live on peanut butter and jelly. I mean, I think there was even a lawsuit recall on the Crustables, because pre-made crusty bread, which is all glyphosate, Roundup ready garbage that tears apart your gut lining, that disrupts how the neurotransmitters are produced in your digestive tract, how B vitamins are manufactured in your digestive tract, all things that you are impacting by choosing to eat the wrong foods. Habits are for real. Had another patient, I just can't give up the sugar. I can't give up the cravings for whatever cake he's eating. And the reality is, I was like, look, man, you got to pray about that. You got to ask the Lord, why am I defaulting to sugar as a dopamine hit, a gift to me, comfort food for my hard day work? The reality is mindset matters, habits matter, long-term impact is yours. Many people live purpose-driven lives, active lives, drug-free, just like KS did. And your condition is then just that, a bump in your past. And it's not something that you are a victim of anymore. It's something that you can take control of. And when we go forward on your health journey together, we have put together classes to help you live your best, be your best, perform your best. We've got a community where we teach people lifestyle habits, what the 4 deadly food additives are, what the 4 inflammatory most common foods that people are consuming on the regular that don't even realize they're wrecking and ruining their health. You can take your phone out right now and you can jump on this QR code and it'll take you to our webpage where you can sign up for our master's class. We have a way for you to touch base and learn a little bit about your situation and understand that if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare plan. And I really want people to grab this idea that no matter the disease, no matter the diagnosis, no matter the symptoms that you're suffering with, there is hope. There is an answer. And that takes me to Hebrews 10, 24 and 25. And let us stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, which is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. Hebrews 10, 23, 24, 25 will change your life. It's a great passage to know that you can, without wavering, hold fast your confession of hope, because the God whose promise is faithful. And then together we stir up love and good works in ourselves, in our body, and our body begins to perform better. That's what my master's classes are all about, because I don't want you to feel hopeless, stuck, and lost in the suffering when there are answers. And I believe that anything your body can develop, it can undevelop. So let's get started today. So definitely take the bull by the horns. Take your health seriously. Every choice you make impacts tomorrow. Multiple sclerosis may challenge the body, but it does not define the person. What is one step you can take today towards better health? Hopefully it's to get on all over that master's class. Hopefully it's to sign up for our newsletter. Hopefully it's to share this message with a friend, family, or loved one. Hopefully it's to schedule an appointment and get on our book so that we can teach you how to live your best, be your best, stay your best, day in and day out. Guys, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be a part of your lives. And remember, Dr. Chapa loves you.